Yeah. East Van.
I'll constantly bitch about this neighborhood and say I need to get the fuck out of here, but I'll never go. This is home. Born and raised. I'll never leave. I don't think I'll be able to sleep at night if I don't hear the hookers walking down the street or sirens and shit. Drunk people running up the street or screaming. I love it. I need it.
Yeah. East Van. Yo, check it. Got me struggling, standing face to face with temptation, pacing back and forth, wearing down concentration, worn out. Feel like my world is under pressure. Measure my goals and grab hold for the better. Daily routine, passed by these alien fiends. Once were beans, but chose to smoke away their dreams. Got their souls trapped in glass sticks for show. Molded to the streets, now they too deep to let go. Now I know all my boys considered as freaks. The truth we speak, only hear the better the weak. Peep these souls leak away with junk in their arm. How can one man inflict himself with that harm? And I walk through the dirt to remind myself that I gotta stay clean to maintain my health. I ain't trying to follow green to attain this wealth. Just call it murder when the poison shit is dealt, no doubt.
Handle that before you fall off track and never.
Concrete jungle, goodness. There's natural jungle, there's people jungle, there's building jungle. Epic diversity.
Lots of good coffee shops.
Every color of the rainbow.
Yeah, great people.
In my experience, it's a pretty polarized community. Used to be one of the only neighborhoods where you could get cheap housing, but now there's this sort of rift between the sort of very wealthy, affluent people who are coming here buying the heritage houses and the sort of relatively poor students and working folk who can hardly afford to live here anymore. But I think still this is the most livable neighborhood in Vancouver by and large.
I don't know, like a bit of the old world, a bit of the new, a lot of like progressive-ish people, like, and that makes for like a good time and lots of beauty and lots of fun and, you know, that kind of thing. Like really good pot too in this neighborhood.
Never ending nap from a life of flaps. To each his own, I guess. It's not for me, but some will live a life of fun and never get shit done. We're all addicts, it's act by ads in its
living on the streets, especially in this area, like it's quite safe. I wouldn't really go sleep downtown anymore.
So check the statistics of feeble bodies living in alleys, freshly christened by piss rising and hypnotized by sirens, trying to find a dry place off to the side to hide in high school. It was.
And people I've known for years and years, they've slept down here, and we used to have like couches and mattresses and tables and stuff that we would find, bring them down here, kind of make it more homey. I guess after all those years, the city just became really intolerant about us being under here and decided that they would fence it off to make it more difficult to give us less of an option, places to go, keep drying. There's also like lots of people who they go down there to shoot up and stuff, and when we would go down there to clean up our empties, they would like, we'd see like mass amounts of needles and rigs, all the paraphernalia and stuff. I fell down the brambles one night trying to get down there when it's really dark. Can't sleep under there anymore, apparently. But yeah. So that's what the city's doing to... Oh, and we peed down there. And oh yeah, and the trains would come and we had like, the boys would moon them and we got a newspaper article written up about that. It doesn't stop there anymore, but yeah, we'd get interrupted when we were sleeping by the train stopping there.
Housing workers that can help people secure housing, but getting housing and keeping housing are two different things. Well, I think that it's a lot of what the youth are facing is things that a lot of people are facing if they're basically in poverty saturated, non-conventional kind of activity. So now that they have a roof over their head and they're kind of away from the street scene, they're lacking direction or even, at times insight or the opportunity to pursue some of the things that they want to pursue. I've said it to people sometimes is once you're finished with the street, sometimes the streets aren't quite finished with you. Yeah. So what happens is that you may have one foot in each world and you don't quite want to be in the streets anymore as a youth, but you don't quite feel like you fit into either suburbia, or you don't want to be hanging around some of the cockroach infested hotels, or the cheaper apartments and stuff like that, and all the dynamics that go on in some of those houses.
It's just about the only warm city in the wintertime in all of Canada, except Victoria, which has the same problem. So pretty much all the homeless people in all of Canada migrate here.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. That, in conjunction with the drug problem and all the mental illness here, it's terrible.
You're filming, right? This is this pizza. As you can see, it's very greasy. But this is stuff you find on commercial drive. It's so good. And it's fresh out of the oven. So yummy. So, as you can see, it's very fattening. I eat this every day because I can't afford a normal meal. Look at this. Look at that grease. That's very fattening.
How would you help out the people of your community? There you have it, folks. So, is there a place where you can find food for him and you too?
Oh yeah, like the SYS here, right here. Like I just got a bunch of dog food from the SYS. The gathering place gives you lots of food. Like if you ask any sort of street affiliated organization, they usually have dog food. If not, they'll tell you how to get it. And a lot of people on the street, if you're sitting there, they offer to buy you food. They're like, hey, do you need dog food? If you do, if you say yes, they'll come by and give you a big bag of dog food just because that's the way people are around here.
Cabbage Patch kids are on the patch within instant scratch. Your parents' plans of an unaddicted path have been ripped in half, cause you mix and match with some sip and stab. Now you're broke, ripped and scabbed. It's goes to sift through trash, but you gotta get dope for blow to lift your ass. Chasing dragons, now it's got a vicious grass, doing dip and crack, and no address to the residence you're living at. You're feeling whack, but at least you're now tripping, losing weight fast, pounds dropping like cow tipping. What a way to go out, your body found fishing, but that's the price you pay just to get lifted. Addiction's a blade to slice your wrist with, but misfits get caught by life's fishnets through chemical assistance. No physician could fix this, or mystic predict this. Analysts say it's high risk, so check the statistics of feeble bodies.
As you know, I'm here almost like 10 years, so it's a long time here. So I have been here. I see lots problem here, especially with the drugs. And I gave them my idea maybe at least 10 times. So drug it's not like a easy problem here. It's international problem. So as for example, if you take away all the kids, Honduran or whatever they are, white, black, I don't know, you just name it. So it doesn't make any changes. So the problem is the bottom line. For example, if you have a swamp, you just put some killer over there, but you don't take anything. So drug is same thing. So you have to make some changes in society. So make some changes in the system. So it's not coming from the sky or not coming from underground. So it's coming from border, from I don't know where. So that's the big apples behind it. So it's not the kids selling it. They're just using them. That's my idea. So
do you think there's a problem?
Yeah, well, obviously there's a huge problem with crack and heroin and smack, and you can't leave your car anywhere without it getting broken into. If you live in a house, you gotta have bars on the windows. It's an epidemic, for sure.
What are some biggest issues you find with the youth that are living here, or do you come stay here?
What are some of their issues? Drug addictions, prostitution, mental health, undiagnosed. It can be anything. We take anybody currently. We're the only group home, I believe, that takes currently using addicts.
I've seen youth who, with drug addictions, that aren't able to access certain services, and that maybe if they're not willing to face their addiction, can be turned away from certain services.
There are many problems in East Vancouver and like the outreach places like Richmond, Surrey, all that. A lot of homeless, a lot of drugs, a lot of violence, brutality. How do you feel about that? Like, do you think that us as a system could change that? through like programs and?
Probably not. You can't really change anything that other people are doing unless they want to stop it. There's nothing really that the system itself can do to stop the homelessness. Well, it's all up to the people. If they want to go around beating the crap out of people, being homeless, and doing drugs, it's not going to stop unless the means to an end is to get the people wanting to stop.
Well, I mean, crystal meth has really become popular in the last, I think 4 years.
Do you know why that is?
It's cheap, it's available, and
you don't have to really sneak it across the borders, eh? You can just create it right in the backyard of like someone's house, eh?
Yeah, I mean, people have labs set up in their kitchen, and they're pushing this stuff out. Half the time, it's completely different, one batch to the next. It's such a dirty drug, and kids do it, and they don't need to sleep, so they don't need to fall asleep on the cold ground, and it takes them out of this world, so that it takes them away from their pain. They get to escape. It has massive long-term effects. I think the most notable being the permanent psychosis that it creates in some cases.
It's not worth it. I've done it. I was hooked on it for a while. It's definitely not worth it. Like, I get more enjoyment sitting here playing with my dog than getting all high and teched out. Like, it's not worth the mouth sores that you get and the burns on your hands that you get from it. It's definitely not worth it. Like, no matter what I say, it wouldn't change the choice of that person, but it might. Yeah, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, violence, stabbing, shooting, everything. But fortunately, after they built that site, so we see more police here. So it's reduced a little bit, but not that much, but lots changes.
What's your take on the youth and like gang violence and drugs and anything out of the ordinary in your community?
Well, of course it happens. That's the reason I'm working here, to make sure we get the kids off the streets in a positive environment, make sure they come into a place where they have positive role models, so that way they won't be influenced to go on the street, be gangbangers, do drugs, and into prostitution.
Then in terms of your 13-year-old brother who's doing similar kinds of things, so basically you're saying it's okay for him to do that too?
He can learn the hard way. I'm not going to try to tell him to do something he doesn't want to do.
What's the hard way?
He'll get caught. Something will happen. Someone he knows what will happen to him. Eventually he'll learn. If he doesn't, then he'll go to jail and he'll get out of jail, and it's his choice after that if he wants to relearn his mistake.
I learned from my mistakes, so I know what I did was wrong, so I stopped everything. I quit drinking too, so.
Where do you think he'll be when he's 40 years old?
I can go any direction. He could either be a smart criminal and know how to get away with it, or he could be a dumb one that gets caught all the time. Either way, he might live a successful life, doing crime, making good money. He could learn off his mistakes, go to school and try to better his life, or he could be a lifer and constantly go in and out of jail doing crimes through his whole life. Have 20 kids, live off welfare.
So, why do you come to the Trout Lake Community Center?
It keeps me out of trouble. It helps me out, and do some volunteer work.
Why don't you want to do the crime route?
There's too many snakes. Too many people who say they're your friends, but they're not. You get backstabbed way too many times.
In other words, it's not quite as good as it might sound.
No, it's never as good as it sounds.
What is your job? What do you do?
Okay, well, I'm a detective constable with the Vancouver Police Department. I am one of 2 people in the anti-graffiti unit. We do something called TIPS, which is track, investigate, prosecute, and share.
So why did you choose this occupation?
You mean being a constable or the graffiti unit?
Yeah.
I didn't choose it.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Do you think that most graffers are just bored kids, or is there some meaning?
Graffiti is a means of expression. And very often it's look at me, pay attention to me, look what I've done. But, you know, you have a drink or you smoke a little bit and then, oh, let's go out and have some fun.
Okay, so what type of effect does it have on store owners and business owners?
I had the property owner tell me that I should sit on the building, which means that, you know, I should stay there all night and watch for somebody to come. And that when I catch them, you know, I should turn them over to him and he's going to break their neck. And I was like, no, you can't be doing that.
Beyond right and wrong and do a bomb and cry long, then move along like a lotus in a stream and focus on my dreams as hopeless as it seems. I wrote this to exceed, so I'll float just like the
what's your
breeze
general
over open
opinion
seas. I'm
on
holding golden keys, fill my soul's ovaries. Trinity, hold me please, cause I believe in prophecy.
I haven't really met one that I don't like.
It seems like a strange contrivance, so kiddies, I advise it. Won't be wise to try this.
What do you believe are the challenges confronting youth in our community today?
Well, I think that there are many challenges in our communities today. I mean, we've made some very significant gains, but we also have a lot of challenges. I can't tell you how despairing it is, for example, when I, you know, read in the newspaper, you turn on the TV and see what's in the newscast. And inevitably, you find some negative, majorly negative press about what some young person did, as though somehow that's the representation of the youth population, when we know that is not the truth. And yet, I go to a lot of community events. I participate with a lot of people around different things that's going on in our communities. And all the good things that they do, you think that it'll ever make the media? No. And it really skews, I think, the perception of what people think, what young people are about today.
What do you think about the youth that are in East Vancouver?
East
Your thoughts on
Vancouver?
the youth in East Vancouver.
I think most of them are fine. It's just that 1%, I guess. You know, I'd say 99% of them are just fine.
The most common stereotype is that street kids don't want to change, that they're there and they're there for a reason and they should be basically ignored and walk away from.
In a lot of aspects, they're just like any other kid. They want the same things that any other kid wants that goes to high school and has a parent or two and a place to live. However, they also have bigger concerns of just simply how they're going to eat their next meal, if they're going to wake up in the morning getting harassed by the police or someone trying to rob them. Definitely there's violence issues. The street isn't a fun, safe place to be. I think it's often glorified by younger youth, and then when they end up there, they find out that it's a dangerous, scary place to live, and sometimes violence is the only option to protect oneself, and it becomes part of life.
Everybody can change. They just need the supports. Most of these kids have grown up without family. Their family has not been able to give them the supports they needed. They just need to have somebody to believe in them.
This is a transition home for women. That's just like for like women that need help.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just came here and this place just opened.
Do you like living here?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It's all right for right now.
So where were you before this?
I was in a shelter.
How long were you there?
For a short time. And then I was at another shelter.
Tell me a little bit about your life. You grew up here in East Vancouver? And
Yes. Yes, I was in care, like in group homes, foster homes, and just like away from my family. And I was with them sometimes.
And what are your hopes for the future?
My hopes for the future is to finish school and to find a good job and to successfully finish this program that I'm in.
Is there something in your heart that you want to say about youth and about people? And
I think they just they're just exploring, and they listen. They do listen, right? They do routine and stuff just like everybody else, and they're just practicing, and they just to have fun, I guess, and have a good night and sleep soundly.
It's called a water drum, and it's used in a lot of Native American church ceremonies. We gather in prayer for celebration of life. This east side Vancouver, because sometimes it's a bleak atmosphere for a lot of our native youth and a lot of our people that don't have a way, and or are struggling with their faith or belief. This way also incorporates family and stability within a family structure, and it incorporates a positive relationship that can be obtained between a man and a woman. It's for our native people to find a better way of life, to look at themselves and where they may be at, whether they're struggling on the streets, and whether some of them are even into prostitution, and some are single parents, and some are missing limbs even, and they have a struggle in their everyday life, and that we try to encourage our people to pick these things up, to carry these things, that they can have something to be proud of, that they can have something to use to pray, that they can find a better life for their children besides drugs and alcohol. And
never ending now, from a life of flaps to each his own, I guess. It's not for me, but some will live a life of fun and never get shit done.
I was 18 and I came out west because I couldn't find a sort of a progressive enough place in Eastern Ontario. It wasn't what I was looking for. I was a young kid full of doses, and I just wanted to do the West Coast thing. So I came out here and moved to East Van and never left.
Just gonna show the different types of people. How they're kind of the same. They're not really different. I'll go in really creepy, dangerous places. I'll go all over the place, just explore.
So do you have a rhythm?
Oh yeah, there'll be a rhythm.
Do you have it in your head yet?
Yeah, I can picture it. I just haven't found the words yet.
Can you do anything on the piano with it right now?
I don't know. I don't know how to play piano. But
Oh, okay.
I could try probably.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I don't know how to play the piano.
is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love, is this love, is this love, is this love that I'm feeling? I'm willing and able. Oh, I put my cards on your table. Yeah. I'm willing and able. Every little thing, I'm gonna be alright. I sing it, don't worry about a thing. Cause you know, every little thing is gonna be alright. Woke up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds, find me doorstep, singing sweet songs. Strong and I sing it. This is my
message to you.
Sing it, don't worry about a thing I say. Have a little, I'm gonna be alright, I'll tell you now. Sing it, don't you worry about a thing I say. Have a little, I'm gonna be alright.